What up, man? It's Monday. Got a lot of stuff in the oven, a lot of stuff cooking, a lot of comic book based videos coming, a lot of stuff that I'm working on, projects that I would like to announce coming soon. So we got to pop off Monday with something a little unrelated to all of that, but there was a funny tweet that was brought to my attention. Now, I don't follow Cher or anything like that, as you can see, but this was funny. Excuse me, nose might be a little stopped up, allergies kicking in. So a lot of people are making this connection, which I don't know. I don't confirm. I can't confirm. I don't really care to confirm. But the connection is with Trump recently announcing, sort of, the idea of shipping quote unquote illegal immigrants to these quote unquote sanctuary cities. So because Cher, who is a deranged, typical Hollywood entertainment leftist, and a lot of them went full deranged leftists once Trump was elected. It really showed how absolutely ridiculously dramatic they are. Um, so a lot of people are making that connection, and they're saying, "Hey, he said this, so it caused Cher to say this." And she says, "I understand helping struggling immigrants, but my city, Los Angeles, isn't taking care of its own. What about the 50,000 plus U.S. citizens, flag and all, who live on the streets, people who live below the poverty line, hungry? If my state can't take care of its own many vets, how can it take care of more?" And then you have my dude Michael Malice, who shows this kind of tweet that was 2 years ago that's antithetical to this. So a lot of people are saying, well, she's realizing the logical conclusion of what it is she's personally been an advocate of, and now it looks like it can become a reality. They're like, whoa, 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 wait a minute. Now look, I don't know that, but there's 2 points that I want to make actually. First point, as I've said long before, leftism, mainstream leftism, no matter how they try to be dramatic, no matter how much they claim to oppose it, is not anti-nationalist, is not anti-statist nationalist. Now, by nationalism generally people are referring to this idea that my nation is better than yours. I prioritize it over mine's over yours, superior to yours. I think that it's superior to yours. And that's what they associate nationalism with. Now, nationalism is not anti-leftist. I would argue that statist nationalism implies it, which is why people are advocates of welfareism, nationalizing of healthcare, nationalizing of college and education, so forth. These are nationalistic policies. These are not policies for the people outside of the nation. They're policies for the people that are within that geographical area. So you want to nationalize healthcare. That's not for the citizens of South Africa. It's for the citizens there. And those are who are going to be prioritized to quote unquote benefit from these statist policies. So I'd argue that state leftism implies state nationalism. Now, some people do use the term nationalism a little more loosely to sort of refer to some sort of allegiance and nationhood without the state, maybe like a culture, a subculture. And that's not what I'm referring to. I'm referring to that state sort of nationalism. It implies it's what mainstream leftism is. It is what it's always been. These are nationalistic policies, welfareism. Now I have my personal plex with and I have to say, before I dive into this a little more, I have to say that that's not my position. This is not my position. I know a lot of Republicans take that position. Like when they argue against, for example, quote unquote immigration, they take the position of, well, We have so and so. We have vets. We have all these homeless people. We have people that we need to take care of before we be taking care of people out on the outside. So, or that are trying to come in. Now, again, that's not my position. My beefs with the state and my beefs like with California being the crap hole that it is in certain areas, and that it's due to welfareism. It's due to state policies. It's due to regulatory laws, which is why a lot of businesses are fleeing there. People look at it like they look at it like this rich nation, right? Or excuse me, rich state by way of numbers, but they don't. They completely ignore sort of what Cher is talking about: the amount of homelessness, the amount of people in poverty that are within this geographical area known as California. And she's talking specific to Los Angeles. And a lot of that stuff is stimulated through statism and welfareism, state welfareism. That's a completely different argument. But I just wanted to make the point and how no matter why she's saying this, this is a position that a lot of state leftists tend to have. This is not an anti they're not anti-leftism. They're not anti-leftist. This is what it is, extending it to the logical conclusion. What it amounts to. Now, she may be coming to this reality by way of Trump saying what he said. I don't know. But extended to the logical conclusion, it's never not been nationalist. They've never not been nationalist. They just have tried to conflate nationalism with racism. And so they almost make it mutually exclusive. But it's not. And there's another thing that I wanted to bring about. You get Hollywood, you get the entertainment sector, musicians, so forth, that tend to flock towards the areas such as California. And they'll get on these award shows all day long. They'll get on Twitter acting like, oh, we got to take care of the people. They advocate for socialistic policies. Almost exclusively, the Hollywood elites and the entertainment elites are all leftists, and they mainstream leftists, and they vote for Democrats. They buck dance for Democrats every election cycle. There's very, very few that don't buck dance for Democrats, and the ones that don't tend to be ostracized, or they are obviously constantly being down talked just because they don't align with the leftists, the Democrats, if you will. Until they are forced to face the harsh reality of what it is that they advocate, they will forever realize that they don't play by the same rules as the average individual. They are up here, you are the peasant, and you're down here. So even in the policies that they advocate, that's not for them. They have their lawyers, they have their accountants, they have their feet in. They're in good, either directly or maybe indirectly, with the state and the educational elites and the status elites, be it the politicians and the representatives and the congressmen and the senates and the governors and so forth. They don't play by the same rules as the other individuals. So when they go advocating for these policies and stuff, it's for you, not them. No, and they always try to, and this is what the Trump thing, and why so many celebrities, at least in my opinion, they came out so aggressively against them and using every sort of platform that they had to just either both bug dance for the Democrats and denounce Trump any chance they can get. It's the easiest position to have among entertainment, music, be it, or let's say Hollywood. It's the easiest position to have is say fuck Trump. There's nothing brave about that when you're surrounded by this echo chamber, if you will. You're yelling in an echo chamber. There's nothing brave about it. But they don't play by the same rules, and they'll try to say those things to connect with the average individual, right? And they'll even show up to some of your little events. But y'all got to get a fucking grip and get a clue. Just look, they don't fuck with y'all. I've said this. You can go to videos long ago that I've made. Celebrities, entertainers, Hollywood, they don't fuck with y'all, bro. Even your rep, they don't fuck with y'all. They don't live near you. They only show up to your communities, to some event just to say, take some pictures and shit, shake some hands, kiss some babies, sign some autographs, and then they go back to their little gated communities. And I personally have no problem with that. I don't blame you. Shit, I'm from the hood. I got the fuck out of there as soon as I could. So I don't blame you. What I'm saying is that they try to virtue signal, and they try to make it seem as if they are connected. But the reality is that they're not, and they know they're not. They're not stupid. But what people are taking from this tweet is that Cher is, they're like, wait a minute. This is the idea. Whoa. You're going to dump these quote unquote illegals in where I live? That's going to affect my living standard? Wait a minute. What about the vets? Not now all of a sudden they care about all of this other shit. Or they want to prioritize that over the quote unquote illegals. When they use that demographic to signal to all the time, certainly if they can by any chance blame Trump or Republicans, any chance they get, they will absolutely use those quote unquote illegal immigrants to signal. But now they say things like this. So it's two things to learn. Two things that I've mentioned before in my videos, maybe that you haven't seen come to fruition. First, these guys are not anti-nationalists. They're absolutely nationalistic. They prioritize their nation. They are willing to, certainly when it comes to the regulatory laws, certainly when it comes to the welfareism, they will prioritize, emphasize, pledge allegiance to their nation over somebody else's. But the second is that they don't fuck with y'all. And this highlights this because the timing is sort of weird. I can't confirm that she's saying something like this after Trump has talked about dumping these people in their quote unquote sanctuary cities. Now she could be saying it. She could not, because of that, she could not be saying it because of that. Maybe she just came to some random realization. But generally speaking, they only show up, they only signal to y'all when they have to. Any other time, they gonna go to their communities and they not fucking with y'all. They don't live around y'all. They don't want to see y'all. They think y'all beneath them. Even when they show up to the event, you understand that it's gated. In their areas, they got all sorts of security, armed a lot of times, which is funny because they're tend to be against gun ownership in a lot of cases, or it's effectively banning them by way of these regulatory laws against gun ownership. They don't fuck with y'all. You are the peasants. So think about that when you see these leftists signaling and acting like they're against nationalism and shit like that. They full of shit, bro. But what do you think? Do you think that Cher, let me know in the comments, do you think that Cher said this out of response to Donald Trump suggesting that they dump quote, the illegals, that they dump the illegals in their sanctuary cities? Y'all let me know. Till next time, man, y'all be easy.